What is up, guys? Welcome to the ThinkComputers Weekly Tech Podcast. This is episode 257, and our podcast is brought to you by Amazon. If you go to thinkcomputers.org/Amazon and happen to purchase something that keeps the podcast ongoing, with me is my co-host Ryan. What's going on?
Just making sure I got all my tabs and windows ready to go.
Yeah,
I monitor make sure the Facebook feed starts, and I have it open so I can monitor Facebook chat and YouTube chat. And I forgot to mute them. You mute them, or
yeah, you should because
I can't mute them right away. But as soon as I hit play on them to go live, it's like this just crazy intro sound going off in my head. So
yeah, you have a pretty crazy monitor setup, I would say.
Yeah. I mean, it's three monitors. It's not that.
I thought you had like four, at least four, or five, or something.
No, Jim over at Home Gadget Geeks has I'm not kidding. I think it's like 9 monitors or 6. It's probably 6, but it seems like he has a ton.
So you have the 2 and then the one up top.
Yes, I have the 4K up above, and then my main monitor here, which is 1440, and then 1080 screen off to the side.
Gotcha. Okay, that's, I guess, like for a computer person, that's pretty normal these days.
Yeah, I've been
interesting
toying with turning this one on the right vertical to stack a couple items. I think I would probably get better use out of the screen, because usually it's just on and not really. Sometimes it's just the wallpaper out. I don't have anything.
So. Yeah, it would be interesting to see how many people use a single monitor or how many people use multiple monitors. Mm-hmm. Like if you could.
You think that's in the Steam survey, hardware survey stuff?
Could see that, but it would be interesting just to see, because like I said, I don't think I could go back to multi monitors just for because I'm used to these ultra wides now. Right. But yeah. But anyways, welcome everybody to the live stream. If you want to follow along, we have our full show notes page that has everything that we're going to be talking about tonight. It is linked in wherever you're watching this, whether it's Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter. Actually, it's not on Twitter because you can't do things in Periscope or whatever. But it is on the page. You just go to podcast, and it would be the first one right there. And this has, again, everything that we're going to be talking about this week. Let's jump into our first review, which is of a motherboard. It's been a while, I feel, since I reviewed a motherboard. It's kind of kind of exciting, because I we talk about this all the time, but I think motherboards are my favorite. They're my favorite item to review. I think the reason I like motherboards so much is it's one of those things where we get to see new technologies. Like every generation, we get we had USB 3.0 and Thunderbolt, and Wi-Fi 6 are on these new boards, and just other stuff. You see more things get added. I think it's why I like them.
Yeah.
And we actually get to see things that make our lives easier, like integrated IO shields and all that stuff. Finally come into these boards, which is nice too. So,
I think you're probably right on that, because you're like, oh, it's a graphics card. I know it's gonna have, it might be exciting when, oh, look, we got rid of DVI and now it's all DisplayPort and HDMI, right? But that happened, a couple generations ago, and other than the new GPU on the card, that's about it most of the time. Whereas with the motherboard, like you said, oh, new USB spec, new wireless spec. I think it makes sense.
It is nice. So the board that I took a look at, was the ASRock X570 PG Velocita. PG stands for Phantom Gaming, so it's part of their Phantom Gaming line. And this board actually came out not that long ago. It kind of launched alongside AMD's Ryzen 5000 series processors. And if you remember, the 5000 series processors would just slot into an already existing X570 motherboard. But a lot of motherboard companies, to sell more boards, they kind of release newer boards. That's just kind of how it happens, and that's what happened. So this board, as I said, is part of the Phantom Gaming line. Overall, it's a really good looking board. The Phantom Gaming kind of design, I wouldn't say it doesn't necessarily copy ROG, but the color is kind of the same, black, red, and kind of a silver. It is kind of a design all of its own, though. The board overall looks really good. It is, if you're familiar with ASRock boards, whether it's Z490 or X570, the design of almost all the boards is very, very similar. You have the 2 big heat sinks up here with the IO cover, integrated IO shield. But the big feature of this board is a gaming feature, because this is part of the Phantom gaming line, is the integrated Wi-Fi and Ethernet. So you're getting 2.5 gig LAN and you're getting Wi-Fi 6, which again is very standard on most X570 boards, especially ones as you go up in product stacks. But the nice thing about this one is that both of them are powered by Killer. If you're not familiar with Killer, they make gaming wireless and gaming Ethernet products. But the cool thing about having both Killer for your Ethernet as well as your Wi-Fi is that because they're both Killer, there's a thing called Killer Double Shot Pro, which means it's going to use both the Wi-Fi and the Ethernet together, and it will direct traffic to whichever one's faster at that current time, or it will prioritize your traffic to the faster one. So say you're gaming, you want to prioritize that to the faster connection, and then everything else can go through the slower connection, which is pretty cool.
Oh, that's pretty sweet.
Yeah, it's really cool. That is the main, I would say for most people, that's the main selling feature of this board. This board has everything else that you would want in a X570 board. It has a 14-phase power design, so it's going to be able to handle all the way up to the 5950X, no problem. We didn't run into any problems with overclocking or any of that kind of stuff. It has USB 3.2 Gen 2. As you can see, you have two ports back here, one Type A, one Type C, and then you have the internal header on the board as well. You have plenty of USB 3.2 Gen 1 ports. I believe you have 6 back here, plus 2 internal headers. Bring up some of those. You have one. Here's the 3.2 Gen 2, and then there's 3.2 Gen 1. And then towards the bottom of the board, you do have the other one right here. Power and reset on the board, as well as clear CMOS on the board buttons, which I appreciate because we use these in a test bench. But makes it nice, easy, just easier for a lot of people. And you have the postcode display, which is incredibly helpful if you are having an issue with booting. 2 Gen 4 M.2 slots, which is standard again on X570. Both have integrated heat sinks. It's not a single design, which ASRock has done in the past, especially with their kind of first generation X570 boards. The reason I think that the single design where this was all one piece down here looked cool and it looked better, but if you wanted to install an M.2 or anything like that, you had to remove the entire piece, which meant removing your graphics card. You can install a graphics card right here and still have access to this M.2 by just removing the 2 screws. Makes things much easier. Beyond that, it tested really well. Just like all X570 boards are going to perform pretty much the same. The only downside to this board was one, when you first turn it on, the chipset fan sounded like a jet engine. Now, once you load it into Windows, it was
calm down.
But it was just like, I don't know, it's just annoying.
Yeah, it's like servers, when you power them on, like all those little fans spin up full speed for 5 seconds or something. Yeah, it's just kind of an annoyance.
It was very weird. You can fully control the chipset fan. So it's, but when you first turn it on, it's like, whew, it's like the old graphics cards. A lot of old graphics cards used to do that. Yeah. It's kind of like the same thing. That was weird. And then secondly, their BIOS is fine for me, but it doesn't have, for some reason, on ASRock, AMD motherboards, so B550 and X570, in the BIOS, they don't have an easy mode. And I just think that's weird because their Z490 boards do. And there's a lot of first-time builders out there. They want to get into the BIOS. Easy mode is basically like a graphical interface that will have like your XMP profile. It will have your fan profiles. It would have your boot priority.
It's the things that most people, like 99% of people, only need the stuff in the easy mode anyways. Okay, maybe 99% is too much, but like 80% of people really only need easy mode. Most people aren't going to get into those super complex, timing settings and, the things you have to look up in the manual to see what they actually do, right? Most people are not getting into most of those settings on the BIOS, I think. So that's, kind of weird that there's not an easy.
Yeah, and again, for me, it's not a big deal because I can go into a BIOS and, but I think of the beginner. I think of somebody who's not familiar with the BIOS. Easy mode just makes it better. And again, I don't understand it because their Z490 boards have easy mode. Yeah. So why isn't it on AMD? It's just weird to me. But beyond that, it's a really good board. It's selling for $264.99, which I think is a good deal considering all of what you're getting, Wi-Fi 6, and you are getting 2.5 gig LAN, and they're both killers, so you can use them together, which is a big selling point for routing traffic and doing all that stuff. So I like the board. Check out my review for sure. Cool. And on to our next review. Paul took a look at a case from SilverStone, and he reviewed a very similar case. And I think these cases, for how much they cost, this case is going to be $65. Wow. So think $65, full ATX, or like not full tower, but a mid tower for $65. Now, some of us won't go that low because we want something a little bit more flashier. We
other
want
features.
Included, other features. But for a lot of people, the case is the last. They don't care. It's going to sit on their desk, or they don't care, or they just want to save money and they want to get a better something else. So this is the SilverStone Fara R1. And it's a very just simple case, mesh front, which I like to see. The thing that you run into with inexpensive cases is airflow is a big issue. So having a mesh front is good to see. Tempered glass side panel, again, nice to see. So you can, as you can see in this picture, you can actually show off the inside of your build. I believe it ships with 2 fans, if not 3, which again is good.
One of them is RGB, the rear one at least.
Yeah, like. I think the ones in the front, you get 2 in the front and 1 in the back, all of which are RGB. And again, it's only $65.
It costs $65 for 3 RGB fans from some companies.
Yeah. Now I don't think, I'm not positive, but I don't think these are ARGB fans. They're like normal 4-pin RGB fans. But again, you get 3 fans included with this tempered glass side panel.
I'm sure there's an integrated controller too, to at least cycle through the colors. So it's got to count for something, right? There's usually a button on there.
Yeah. But like the internal design is your typical standard, not much to it. Actually, there's 3 fans on the front.
So this thing comes with 4 fans.
Yeah, 4 fans. All pre-installed.
Yeah.
That's really good. Yeah, the internal design is pretty basic, and you can see where the quality isn't as good. I mean, I'm just looking right here at these mounting points and how it's separated. But again, for $65, I think you're getting a lot. You're going to get a case that's going to look nice. You can see here's the controller for the RGB.
Yeah, ARGB says.
Yeah, 3-pin. And you can see like you can get a really nice looking build out of this for $65.
Yeah.
You can't complain. You can say, oh, the tempered glass side panel has those big screws on it, and it's whatever. But I mean, it's $65, and there's more than enough room. And this is an ATX board. That's an ASRock board actually. But I mean, you have plenty. The routing holes are fine. They don't have the rubber grommets, but again, you can't complain at that price, right? I mean, is there anything to complain about with this case? I don't
think so. Look at that. Those 200mm fans he put on there to test with.
I think they're 140.
Maybe 140. Okay, they looked big in that thumbnail, but no, I don't think there's really much at that price point. I would have a tough time listening to many complaints. About this case.
It's not. We have temperatures and stuff. It's not like a bad for that price. I can't say anything bad about it. I just can't. You can't. And that's the great thing about it is that, imagine there's a lot of cases that have similar functionality that come with less fans that are 100, 120, 130, So I think it's a great case for that. So it's the SilverStone, it's the Fara R1. check out our review. Definitely will save you some money. And it comes with 4 fans, so you're good to go. That's like the biggest thing people don't realize. You buy a lot of these cases, they come with 2 fans, and then if it's a certain case that they're RGB fans, you got to buy 3 more of these RGB fans, which adds another $100 in some cases onto it. So yeah, definitely go ahead and check that out. Also, talking about cases, I released a video. If you guys are watching on YouTube, you might have already seen it because it's on YouTube. It is of the Evolve Shift 2 from Fantex, which we reviewed a while ago. Here's the video. You can see me and the case. I think I finally got my setup looking good.
Yeah, I like this a lot.
Yeah, I got a different tabletop, which I think looks better in the lighting that I use. But in any case, the Evolve Shift 2 is their vertical ITX case. This goes over pretty much everything. And I got to use my new slider making this video, which was a lot of fun too. So go ahead, check it out. It's linked in the show notes, but it's also on our YouTube. You can just go ahead and check it out. So yeah.
You had a BIOS video too for that motherboard, didn't you?
I did. So every time we do a motherboard review, I do a BIOS video going over all the BIOS settings, so you get an idea of what the settings are if you're looking for a setting or whatever. Those get posted every time we do a motherboard review. So since we did that ASRock motherboard review, it's in there as well. So yeah. Moving on from there, we have Case Mod Friday, and we have another sleek build, which I like. This one is from SS Mods, and this is his Z. Do you think you pronounce this ZOROG or Zorog? Zorog 2.
Yep.
Which is just a little bit different. It's pretty cool looking. I don't know. What are your thoughts on this one?
Is this like a Cooler Master Cosmos based case with those? I think so.
Yeah, it's the Cooler Master C700. Okay. It's basically the successor to the Cosmos.
Yeah. So no, I like it. I like when people take a case that's kind of popular already, or just kind of a cool design, and then they flip it or just take parts of it away, cut stuff out, and modify it. I do like those types of builds. So no, I'm a fan of this.
Yeah, and I do like that you went with these bends that aren't like as symmetrical, right?
Yeah, and they're not just like a 90,
yeah,
that we get sometimes. But no, I like the look.
Yeah, it's just a good looking overall build. I like it. It's just different, and I think he accents the colors. This is ROG build, obviously, but like everything's black except for the coolant, which is red, and then you have actually red on the graphics card, but it's not an RGB. There's no RGB, but it's just red, so it just shows up, which I think is pretty cool. It's different.
I think the white lighting though looks nice.
Yeah.
Accents that red nicely.
Yeah, I think sometimes like we've gone so RGB, we're like just the simple accent lighting, just showing off the actual color of either the coolant or the colors that you went with on your motherboard, or if you painted something. I think sometimes we forget about that stuff, so it's pretty cool to see as well. So go ahead and check this one out. Again, it's from SS Mods, and again, we have our full section of Case Mod Friday builds. So if you want to check something out or get some inspiration, we have a ton of builds in our Case Mod Friday section. So go ahead and check that out. And we'll move on to news. There's not a ton of stuff. We are doing this obviously on Wednesday, so we're missing a day of news per se. But we do have a new graphics card announcement from NVIDIA. Are you excited?
Oh, very. Yeah, man, I was stoked. It's always nice
when you hear NVIDIA new graphics card, you get excited, right?
Was this a sleeper? Is this the 28 or the 3080 Ti? Did they surprise us with it, or am I missing?
You get excited, and then you see it's this guy.
Wait, that looks like a GPU from how many years ago?
Yeah, so NVIDIA silently announced their GeForce GT 1010. And the reason we found this out is that so when you go to NVIDIA, you go to their website, you go to their drivers, And under their drivers was this new NVIDIA 1010. Yeah. So according to Tech Power Up, this card features 256 CUDA cores and 2 gigabytes of GDDR5 RAM. Has a clock speed of 1228 megahertz and a boost clock of 1468 megahertz.
Derek's right. He says, and you thought DVI was dead. I know. I was just saying, like, hey, we got rid of DVI. Nope, it's back. Just kidding. I mean, I guess this is all right for someone that's got a system without an integrated GPU and they just need to power a display.
Yeah,
or they need something half height. Like, I don't know if this comes with a half height bracket option, but it looks like that might work as well.
Here's a couple interesting things. One, this is not as powerful as a lot of integrated GPUs these days.
Okay, yeah.
So but it does replace the GT 710, I believe, that's been out for 7 years. And it appears that this is going to be OEM only, which means system integrators will use it, right?
Yep. And I guess you think about those system integrators and DVI. There's still a lot of DVI monitors out there.
Yeah, but like, wouldn't you just? And DVI is fine. We actually see a lot of motherboards that still offer DVI with integrated graphics. What makes you choose this over a CPU that has integrated graphics?
I don't know. Maybe you need those connections. Maybe, your board only has, maybe you've got a board with just VGA or with and you're hooking it up to some other display and you don't want an adapter. I don't know.
Yeah, it's just, it's weird.
A backup GPU. Yeah. That could, for not that OEMs need that, but
yeah. I understand integrated graphics, right? A lot of systems will ship with, I understand very low cost GPUs.
It's also not stealing resources from your system, right? Like the 2 gigs of onboard memory, right? As opposed to using some system memory.
Yeah, I agree there. I just I get low power graphics. I understand where they fit in. It's just that when you have a CPU or an APU from AMD that has integrated graphics that's better than this, what's the point? I guess, but I guess like I said, with using less system resources, I guess, but I mean, are you taxing the CPU that much?
I don't know.
In that, it's not like this is not made for gaming. Neither is integrated graphics on your CPU. So that's just, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. But in anyways, we have a new NVIDIA graphics card, so that's exciting, I guess.
Right? I don't know that I'd go that far, but yeah.
I wouldn't say it's exciting, but I got excited when I heard there was a new NVIDIA GPU launch this past week. But that was it. So, but talking about NVIDIA and what you just said about the 3080 Ti, we went through CES week with no announcement of a 3080 Ti. And now, according to some sources here, NVIDIA will postpone the RTX 3080 Ti indefinitely. Gamers Nexus talked to NVIDIA partners. Those are like Gigabyte, AORUS, Asus, MSI, everybody who makes NVIDIA graphics cards. And they said that the 3080 Ti is put on hold for an indefinite amount of time. This makes sense, though, wouldn't you say?
I think so.
I think that
anyway. I mean,
okay.
I was just gonna say you can't get anything anyways right now. So again, why announce yet another product that's just not gonna be available?
Yeah, and especially I think a lot of people that $1,000 price point, there's people that like a 3080 at its price, but they want something a little bit better, right? And I think $1,000, and again, a lot of people are used to spending that $1,000 on a graphics card. They want something But if you're not going to, if you don't have it and you can't get it, and you can't get any of the other cards either, it's kind of pointless to put it out there, right?
Yeah.
Because it's not even like you're going to compete at that price point because there's nothing there, like there's no inventory.
When some weird times.
We have that, and then also as all these stories kind of go together, it looks like both AMD and NVIDIA will continue to have GPU supply issues through Q1. This was very much expected. We have some quotes from different people, from AMD CEO as well as the CFO and NVIDIA. You can go ahead and read them, but yeah, I mean, there's just supply issues. It's crazy to think about that people still can't get these cards. I hate like talking about this every week, but it's like, did they not
think it's still a relevant story?
Yeah, but it's like, it just blows my mind. Like, yes, there was demand, right? But like, I mean, even like these crazy mining farms, like they're not buying like 30,000 graphics cards.
So are we still feeling like the effects of lower production due to COVID, you think?
Yeah,
and slowdowns at factories? Or is it just such high demand that they can't keep up with it? I feel like it's not. It's probably both, I'm guessing. It's kind of how it feels to me anyhow.
Yeah, I would say it's both. I would say that you have that initial, maybe at launch you expected, say, you expected 1 million cards at launch, right? That's just a figure I put out in my head. Because of COVID, maybe you only had half that, so like 500,000 of them. Then you had, there's tremendous demand based on price and based on performance,
right? Which just increases your customer base then, and you're just playing catch up all the time.
They came out at a time where people were stuck at home and they were building new computers, and it comes at around holiday time. It's like all those things kind of came together. And then you also have the supply constraint of just the companies making all the other parts that go on the card as well, possibly.
Yeah.
It's just a clusterfuck. That's basically what it is.
Yeah. So yeah, Derek's saying, with AMD, it's Zen 3, PlayStation 5, Xbox, and the 6000 series all at once. So I mean, they've got 4 product lines essentially that are in high demand. Do you know if any other industries are like, I don't want to say industries, but like TVs, for example, right? Like,
I honestly,
it seems like there's no shortage of TVs. Anytime I've been in a big box store recently, there's always tons of TVs around, right? But I know it's been hard to get, like, for example, laptop panels.
Obviously, the GPU silicon is much harder to produce than what's in a TV.
Right? Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, it's definitely gonna be tough. Corey's in the chat. He said he wants to build a new system. Let's get a list of good parts. I would wait, dude. It's just not a good, like, we talk about this and I say it every week. So many of my friends want to build systems, but it's like you can't get the parts. One of my other friends, he's been telling me, he's like, I managed to pick up a 5000 series chip. I managed to pick up an X570 motherboard. But beyond that, he's like, I'm not going to buy anything else until I can get a graphics card, and I haven't been able to find one. It's just like, you could wait so long that you would have Ryzen 6000 series, like you could come into that point where it's so close, because we don't know how long this is going to last. And we don't know, again, what the actual issue is with supply. So we can't say, oh yeah, like it's going to be, I have a guess it's going to be March time. That's just like in my head, but I don't know. It could be all the way through the summer. We don't know. So it
was odd. I almost made a trip to Kansas City because the Micro Center up there, they actually had 2 3070s in stock, and I checked multiple days, like spread out between each other, and they had inventory. I just literally looked right now. Yeah, they're gone. But
Yeah.
I was considering making the trip to go get a 37.
Yeah, I saw this tweet this morning from Newegg that said we have some NVIDIA bundles in. So like they'll bundle a graphics card with memory, or the bundle graphics card with a mother, whatever. And there were 3060 Ti's, which we haven't reviewed. So I was like, I'll buy one to review it.
Yeah.
They literally tweeted it. I clicked on it, and everything was sold out. All the bundles were sold out like instantly. So, yeah. And Derek said, same feeling March. Yeah, I think again, maybe NVIDIA didn't know the actual demand, right? Maybe they underestimated it or whatever. So now it's like catch up time. So I feel like now they're going to order more parts, or they're going to produce more parts for the catch up. So then you'll finally see that in March, April-ish, I'm guessing. But we'll see. So yeah. So let's move on to the next story, which has to do with GPUs. And it's kind of nice because we talk about, and I've talked about this with motherboard software. Name me a motherboard software, like companion software, that doesn't feel like it was made 5 years ago.
Yeah, there's not one.
There's not one. Even most GPU software is not good. And not that it's not good, it just feels so dated. Like we were talking about
Precision X.
Yeah. Well, we
Precision
were talking
X1, right? It just feels clunky.
Like we were talking about last week when I reviewed the Samsung SSD, like that SSD software looked polished. It felt new. Like that's, so ASUS updated their GPU tweak utility, which is it's like their tuning utility for graphics cards. Basically, they've updated it. It looks kind of nice. It doesn't look super polished. Based on the screenshot?
It reminds me of AMD
Ryzen Master.
Ryzen Master, yeah. I was about to say AMD Overdrive, but that's old.
But they have updated it. It's good to see that these things are getting updated, right? Because what's ASUS's AI Suite 3 has been AI Suite 3 for like 4 generations of motherboards. Things just need updated. So yeah, it's nice to see them updated. If you have an ASUS graphics card, you can use it with this software, and it allows you to do some stuff, and obviously overclock your card and change your fan speeds, and most like all GPU software you can. But yeah, they have updated it. So if you want to go ahead and check that out, you can do that. What else do we have? Oh, here's something that you should be excited about. I'm also excited about it. So Gigabyte has announced their, I call it second generation, Gen 4 NVMe SSDs. So when X570 launched, we got AORUS's Gen 4 NVMe SSDs, and their max speed was around 5,000 megabytes a second, which was definitely a nice jump because with Gen 3, you're maxed out at 3,500 megabytes a second. So 5,000 was nice. These new, they're calling them the Gen 4 7000S SSDs. These will go up to 7,000 megabytes a second, or 7 gigabytes a second. Derek said real quick, he did say Armory Crate is ASUS. Yes, Armory Crate is a nice update, but it's still, it is better than AI Suite, but I think you can also download AI Suite through.
Yeah, I have both on my system.
Yeah, so it's weird. If they put everything into Armory Crate and made it like an all-in-one app, which I think companies started doing this, which I thought was a really good idea. I think Gigabyte does it, is that you download one app, like say Armory Crate, and then if you want like RGB control, you can add it. If you want your motherboard companion, you can download it and add it, and it's in one app. It's not like 6 different apps that you need to have. Like everybody has their own RGB app, and it's a separate app than everything else. It's not conducive. Like I just don't like it. I just wish like I download one thing and then I want this, and this, and then that's what you get. So these look nice. They have ditched the all copper heatsink, but they go with this one, which I think looks nice.
It'll just blend in better with system is better than the orange copper look.
Yeah,
Which I didn't mind the look. It's just it's not going to go with everything.
Yeah, it's a aluminum heatsink that said they have a nano carbon coating, whatever that means. 7,000 megabytes a second. 55% increase in performance compared to their first gen PCI Express 4.0 NVMe SSDs. I like it. I'm a fan. It looks like the PCB is black, which I really like. But what do you don't have a Gen 4 drive, do you?
I don't.
Yeah, you have an X570 motherboard. You got to get it.
Yeah, I know.
It's honestly, I mean, you will.
I don't think I'm gonna. I will see a difference every now and then, but most of the time, I'm probably not gonna notice it.
Yeah, I like it. This uses the Phison E18, which is an upgrade from I believe it's the Phison E16. So you'll see a lot of these drives, new Gen 4 drives, use this controller. This will be like any company that isn't making their own controller. This will be one of the few that they'll be using going forward. So definitely excited for that. I love fast storage. It just makes my life so much easier. So
saves you time.
Believe they listed pricing, but I'm sure you can find it on their website. 1 and 2 terabyte, which I like. I don't think anymore like we should go below a terabyte.
You think? For Noah, like if it's just in a Noah, like I don't know. I'm still I'm still someone that doesn't store a lot of data on my computer outside of game installs. True. Everything else is stored on external drives or my NAS. So like for me, that's just my mentality. But I know that there's people that a terabyte drive, great. I've got all this space. They don't worry about having a secondary drive for a secondary function or anything like that, right? A terabyte drive probably makes sense for them.
Yeah,
and I think that's probably the minimum disk size you're going to find really anywhere if you just go buy an off-the-shelf computer nowadays, even if it is a spinning disk.
Derek said this Phison needs to be compared to Samsung and WD Black fast drives for heat. Yeah, I know the AORUS first gen drive, which I believe was also a Phison controller, got very, very hot. Most Gen 4 drives get very, very hot from what I've experienced. So, yeah, if we go into review, we can definitely test it. I have the Samsung drive here. I have the first gen AORUS drive, and I have a Sabrent drive as well, which I think that uses the first gen Phison controller as well. So yeah, if we get one in, we'll definitely test it. Here's something for you. So since you're Mr. AIO, EK announced their EK AIO Basic and Special Edition EK AIO Elite R1 CPU coolers. These are AIO units. I don't know why they provided these pictures that are tiny. Yeah, it's very hard to see. These look nice. I do like this one, like the gold.
The gold does look cool,
and it has the little.
Is that gold or is it just reflective silver? It's probably gold.
I believe it's gold. I mean, looking at the photo, it does look gold.
That's
It's so hard to see because the pictures are so small. So, these are AIO units from EK, which I would think would be good because EK is a water cooling brand. They're not just a company that happens to do water cooling as well as everything else. Like they are a water cooling brand. The AIOs themselves, there is a 240, a 360 in the units that look like this. And then there is a AIO Elites 360 RGB, which is the gold one that comes with RGB fans on it. I do like that gold. It just looks nice. What do you? Cool. I mean, the block looks cool. The EK logo.
I liked the previous gen of these. That was kind of that opaque white, and had the RGB underneath it. They didn't send one out for review at all. So I don't know performance wise. As far as I know, they performed just fine. I'm sure these perform very similar to the previous models, but.
Yeah, I think they look cool, and I think like obviously if you make your fans gold and you have like this memory from G.Skill, it will look really, really cool. Prices aren't bad. I don't think they comes. I could be wrong, but I don't think it comes with software. But The 240 basic is $89.90. The 360 is $119.90, and the 360 RGB is $229. That's a big
Yeah,
jump.
those aren't horrible.
But again, that's a cut. Like this gold is not something that's in. Yeah, you're getting 3 RGB fans as well. So yeah, check those out from EK. They are brand new. What else do we have for news? We have
Samsung.
So these were shown off at CES. We talked about it a little bit. Did we? But they put out a video which I'll bring up.
We did about because we were talking about the no bezel and just the camera behind.
They put out this video about their blade bezel, which these are OLED screens, and you can see there's like no bezel. That's just so like pleasing to me to see that. And then you have the camera under the actual panel, so there's no little top part where your camera goes.
That's neat.
Yeah, I mean you can see the difference between that. I really like that, and OLED is lighter as well, so this will make for even thinner and lighter. I mean, look how thin and light that is. Like,
is that it's so tiny.
Yeah, I really like that. And if you can get something that's powerful enough for me to do work on, not like remember when netbooks came out, everybody liked how small they were. You couldn't do anything on them.
Dude, and those how big were the? I have a Dell netbook, and it was like I think it was a 12-inch, which was huge for a netbook. Most netbooks were like 8 to 10 inches.
Yeah,
but yeah, oh my gosh.
Let me go back. So if I can bring it up. So yeah, so you have the actual camera under the display, which I like. Now I know a lot of security people are going to be weirded out because you can't
put a post-it note over it or a sticky note or a slider.
Well, yeah, but you can put a sticky note over it, but then again, that covers your actual screen now.
Right.
But I really OLED. I mean, I talked about this, and I know a lot of people aren't laptop people, but if like an OLED screen on a laptop is like, I think it's the perfect size, and I think that ever since we got these bezel-less monitors, whether it's a big monitor or a laptop monitor, ever since we started getting smaller and smaller on the bezel, I've just been such a huge fan. So we'll see. I might have to pick one of these.
Do they ever make their screens available? You don't really see Samsung screens in other brand laptops, though, do you? Like, we're not going to see this in anybody else's laptop. And like, when's the last time you saw a Samsung laptop? Anywhere? Yep.
I don't go to. I mean, we only have Best Buy here,
and
I don't go there, so I wouldn't know what's actually in the store to see.
Yeah. It's been a long time since I've seen another a Samsung laptop just in the wild.
Yeah, so I think if they're like super thin and light, like I've been looking for like a travel type laptop, but something that would have like a 10th, 11th gen Intel in it, that's powerful enough. You know what I mean? And like 30, like I get like 32 gigs of RAM, like NVMe, like I'd be kind of set on that. So pretty cool tech, I think. It's one of the more interesting things I did see from CES. So if you want to check it out, we have the video linked. It's pretty cool, I think. Also talking about Samsung. Now, this would be even bigger news. And again, this is more on the laptop side of things, but we did talk about it a few weeks back, and I thought it was a big deal. Apple's M1 processor is really a game changer. It's super powerful. It kind of is like redefining the Mac line of products.
Yeah.
They're making their own processor. They have full control over it. It is a really good processor. Well, it looks like Samsung might follow suit and build processors for laptops. This could be a big issue for Intel once again, because Apple made their own processor, and that's a part of a market share that Intel had most of. Samsung does the same thing. We could see all these other companies that use Intel products use Samsung chips. So, do you know the name of this processor? How do you say that?
Exynos, maybe.
Exynos. So these are their SoCs or their chipsets that they use in a lot of mobile devices, and I believe they're used in their tablets. I could be wrong on that. Like Samsung tabs use these, but new reports come out that they could uh, make their own SoC for laptops, which would be huge business. The success of the Apple M1 is huge, and people are seeing that that a lot of companies are they have issues with Intel, especially security reasons. That's kind of the big one. You have all these companies that have all these laptops that they've had security issues year over year with you have to either buy new laptops or you have to go in and you have to update everybody's laptop. I'm sure you had to do that with at your job. So yeah, I think this might be a new big thing. And Samsung's one of the few companies that that can produce.
Yeah, the fabs that can do it.
Yeah.
Well, my only thought of why it may not be, I mean, not that they couldn't pull it off and it would be, probably successful, but I don't think they'll get the level of performance that Apple gets just because Apple owns both the chip and the operating system, and the integration between the two, I think, adds quite a bit of performance and efficiency to the product overall. Whereas, Samsung's still going to be, Windows is more than likely going to be running on these, or maybe a flavor of Linux. And they're just not going to get that deep integration that Apple gets. But that being said, I think they could still be successful. So it's cool.
It's interesting to see more players in the space. Again, it's not going to, like, for us, for desktop people, you're not going to see like I wouldn't think you would see a Samsung desktop chip. You're more likely to see an Apple desktop chip come out, which
hopefully we got Intel coming out with GPUs, so maybe Samsung one day will be a third player in the CPU world.
Well, we will see. So we'll definitely keep you guys updated on that. And then our final piece of news is we have no clue what this means. But we had talked a little bit last year about GTA. And we actually, did we talk about it at the end of the last podcast, Grand Theft Auto 5, how it's still like people still play it?
I know we've discussed it recently. At least.
And like how many platforms it's on? It's on.
Yeah, because I bought it. I have it on PS3 and my PC, and it's out on PS4.
Yeah,
and PS5. I'm guessing you just play the backwards version. They're not making a better version of GTA 5.
But GTA 5 has been out for so long, and it's been like a cash cow for Rockstar Games for forever. Now for GTA 6, again, we don't know a whole lot about GTA 6, but Take-Two Interactive, who's developing the game, they have a new patent for AI NPCs, which are non-playable characters. Those are like the people you interact with in the game, obviously. But nobody really knows what it means, but it's a new patent that they filed for. The thing is that I was thinking about this is how many games have you played throughout your gaming career where the sequence of like the boss, so you know where to move and you know like where to do. And it's like if there's AI that would actually be like you're actually fighting somebody else rather than like an NPC, that'd be kind of cool.
I mean, when I first saw the title of this, I was like, well, isn't this like a given? Because, we're saying introduce smarter NPCs to the game. And you're like, well, I expect that with every generation of games anyways, right? I want those NPCs to be smarter and harder and, more strategic. But when you throw in AI to this, and if that's how they're going to do it, I'm a lot more impressed. Obviously I'd want to see those results. But if they are smarter and kind of understand and learn like your play style and adjust to that, based on this whoever's playing is aggressive, so we need to counteract that with this play style, and vice versa, I think would be pretty cool.
Now if there's a Grand Theft Auto 6, when there is going to be one, would you get it?
Probably.
Yeah, I like it's one
I
of
don't
those
have a
games.
current. I don't have a
Go
current
ahead.
gen console, which is where I would probably buy it and play it the most, anyways. I have it, like I said, I have it on PC, but I didn't really play it a lot. It's a game I prefer to play on a console, or at least with a controller.
Mhm.
And we always have to wait so long to get the port on PC. It's like a year after it's out on the console,
Yeah, yeah,
and I
Rockstar
just
has.
get the FOMO and want to play it. So we'll
Um,
see.
yeah, I'd probably get it. It's a game that you can just pick up and play.
Yes,
Just have some fun
and
with
just
it.
running around in that open world is
Yeah,
like the most fun. I've
if you
had
want
some
to
of the most fun playing games, like
if you
with
want
the
to do
old Grand Theft
missions,
Autos.
if you want to play like the story and do the missions, you can do that. If you want to run around and get the cops to chase you and blow stuff
Oh
up and
yeah,
kill people, you can do that. So
yeah,
it's a fun
yeah.
game. So so we'll see what this means. Nobody really knows what it means, but you would eventually over time like to see in-game NPCs do get smarter per se. You know what I mean? Because again, how many times have you died and they'd be like, "Oh, I have to do this different to get past this
Right.
point."
Yeah.
So it would make games a little bit more challenging, which would be nice.
Mhm.
So that is our news for the week. Coming up next week, I have two products that I will be reviewing. One is some DDR4 memory from Viper Patriot. Viper Gaming. This is their Viper RGB DDR4. It's DDR4 memory that has RGB, which is all too similar. But if you're looking for this, it is kind of cool that the RGB illuminates the eyes.
The eyes, that is cool.
Yeah, the thing. But yeah, we have a 32 gigabyte kit from them, two
Cool.
16 gigabyte DIMMs. So I will have that for you guys, and then I'll be taking a look at a new keyboard from Rocket.
I want to know your
It
thoughts on this one,
okay.
because I reviewed the non 10 keyless, the
The Volta.
Vulcan AMO 120, I think is what it
Mhm.
was. And I love, like, there's a couple things I love about it and some things that weren't my favorite, but I'm just curious to see when you're done with the review what your thoughts
Yeah,
are.
so this is their new 10 keyless keyboard. There's a pro version and
Non-pro?
normal, yeah, just a Vulcan TKL. The difference is the pro version has optical switches,
Okay.
um, and the non-pro has mechanical switches. But these optical switches are meant to mimic a mechanical switch.
So yeah, and you have the pro.
I have the pro,
Okay.
yes. One thing that is interesting is that you do have the low profile keycaps, which will be a little different.
Yes.
Um, but yeah, it's a good looking keyboard. I took it out of the package and took all the pictures of it. I will be using it all over the weekend, and we'll have the review for you. So I'm excited to
Cool.
take a look at that as well. And that brings us to the end here, where we talk about if we did anything. You still been playing Fortnite? You said.
Yeah, played a little more Fortnite. Got some wins over the weekend because I think I had just gotten my win last week. I think, right? Had I gotten my
Yes.
win with my son? Yeah, and then we played some more like Friday night, last Friday, and ended up with like 3 wins in our, I don't know, hour long, 2 hour long gaming session, which pretty good ratio of
Yeah.
wins to games. So that was fun. Played last night, got another win. So we've been doing that, and I did some test fitting of a radiator in this InWin 925. I thought I was gonna have more time over this longer weekend I had, but didn't just didn't work out. So I've been putting
Yeah.
together a Lego Technics truck too, and that's like,
I haven't
it's
done Legos in
huge.
so long.
This one, I don't remember how many parts it is, but it's enormous. It weighs a ton. It's like a 6x6 tow truck thing. It's
Pretty
pretty awesome.
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kosher is in the house, one of our regulars. He said he's like, yeah, we're about finishing
Yeah,
up
about
here.
to wrap up, man.
I have really just been working on reviews, getting a lot of stuff done. Um, we talked about Cobra Kai last week. I was talking to you before we started recording. Is I was up so late last night because I got into season 2 and then I had to finish it because it was like every episode you're like, oh, I gotta like see what happens. So that's why, like, I don't know if you can tell, like my eyes. It's
No,
just
I can't tell.
yeah,
No.
it was It was a late one, but beyond that, nothing super exciting tech wise. I've just been watching Cobra Kai.
Now, were there
Nothing much.
many CES releases this week? I know I thought we were thinking there was going to be a couple maybe that came out
There was
this week as
well,
well.
we didn't put it in here, but Samsung did announce their new 870 Evo, which I have. They sent me one. I don't know.
Oh, nice.
It's back there somewhere.
Their SATA.
Yeah, their new SATA. So it's not
SSD.
super exciting, but it does improve performance. And again, they actually already changed the price. The same day they
Did they
released
drop
them.
the price?
Yeah, they dropped the price
Okay, good.
$10.
It seemed okay. It seemed
Yeah,
kind of high.
$10 for I think $10, and I think maybe the 4 TB went down more than that. But yeah, they dropped the price already. So, but yeah, that was one thing. I haven't really checked today, because I woke up late. But yeah, that's kind of what we have. But there is a lot of stuff we didn't even see from CES still. Like if you look at, if you actually have time to like go around and look, there's a lot of stuff from CES that we just didn't have time to cover because there's just so much. And obviously we're not there on the floor, so that makes a big difference. But yeah, we are going to jump over to Twitch, twitch.tv/ThinkComputers. Bring it up here. And we'll be playing some Apex Legends, just me and Ryan. So I'll be excited to see if Ryan doesn't freak out. And
what do you mean freak out?
When there's a lot of people around and we're gaming, Ryan has a problem. He gets real yeah, you get real. You just gotta calm down and kill one guy at a time, and then you're good to go. So,
okay.
So yeah, we will go ahead and be on over at Twitch again, twitch.tv/ThinkComputers. Thanks to everybody who's in the live stream, and of course, thank everybody who's listening on audio later. And we will catch you guys next week.